Did you know that 1 out of every 8 people in the world is a farmer? From the rice fields of Asia to the vast plains of Europe, modern agriculture has advanced further than we ever imagined. The need to feed 8 billion people drives humanity to constantly innovate, bringing technology deep into every field. The fusion of precise engineering and artificial intelligence is transforming farming into a massive production line, where billions of tons of crops must race against time and endure the harsh forces of nature. In today's video, we'll explore how farmers across the globe are using the world's most advanced agricultural machines, where science, technology, and farming converge to open a new era in global food production. For decades, onion harvesting by hand, usually taking place from August to October, demanded hundreds of workers to pull, gather, and transport each bulb out of the field. The arrival of the first rear-mounted onion harvesters changed that. With a simple digging blade and a vibrating screen, they could lift the bulbs from the soil, remove excess dirt, and lay them neatly in rows. These machines are still common in the Netherlands, China, and India, where many farms remain small to medium in scale. However, the major limitation was that onions remained on the ground, requiring manual collection. To solve this, the next generation, harvesters with high elevators, was developed. They not only lifted and cleaned the onions more effectively, but also transferred them directly into trailers or trucks driving alongside. This continuous flow saved enormous amounts of labor and time, and such machines are widely used today in Western Europe, the United States, and Canada, where fields can stretch across tens or even hundreds of hectares. At an even larger scale, multifunctional trailed harvesters from companies like DeWolf and Simon pushed efficiency further. These machines added advanced leaf cutting and soil separating systems, delivering cleaner onions straight from the field and reducing the workload for post-harvest handling. The pinnacle of this evolution is the self-propelled onion harvester. Operating independently without a tractor, these giants feature comfortable operator cabins, GPS navigation, and precision sensors. Modern models such as the DeWolf Enduro or Grimm SE series can process 50 to 70 tons of onions per hour, replacing the labor of hundreds of workers. Each year, the world produces over 100 million tons of onions, with India alone consuming more than 20% of global output. Altogether, the onion industry generates over $40 billion US annually, a striking demonstration of its immense economic value and the role of mechanized harvesting in sustaining this demand. Gone are the familiar images of farmers holding handheld sprayers. Today, it is the autonomous sprayers that are redefining the future of modern agriculture. Across vast green fields, the John Deere See & Spray Ultimate extends its massive spray booms, gliding with centimeter-level precision. Equipped with advanced cameras, sensors, and artificial intelligence, it can detect individual weeds among thousands of crops, targeting only the areas that require treatment and reducing the use of pesticides by up to 90%. Its vision system is so advanced that it can scan up to 4,000 frames per second while operating at speeds of up to 15 miles per hour, ensuring unparalleled accuracy even across massive fields. Beyond cutting costs and protecting the environment, this breakthrough elevates farming into a high-tech industry where robots and AI replace backbreaking labor, delivering a level of efficiency never before seen in the history of cultivation. So, are you ready to invest $500,000 to $700,000 to own this cutting-edge machine? Seen from above, the rice field in spring in Japan looks like a giant canvas. where the machine quietly draws perfectly straight lines across the watery surface. The modern Yanmar rice transplanter eliminates the back-breaking labor of manual planting by automatically inserting young seedlings into the field, completely replacing traditional hand planting methods that once consumed so much time and effort. What makes this machine remarkable is its integration with a GPS satellite navigation system, allowing operation with centimeter-level precision. As a result, every row of rice is planted in flawless alignment, evenly spaced, and at consistent depth, minimizing both gaps and overlaps. In practice, a single Yanmar rice transplanter can cover 0.5 to 1 hectare per hour, up to 8 to 10 times faster than manual labor. During operation, the farmer only needs to steer and reload seedling trays at the back, while all movement, adjustments, and planting are fully automated. The synergy of precise engineering and smart satellite technology not only saves time and reduces labor costs, but also boosts productivity and crop quality, marking a new milestone in the modernization of agriculture. After 4 to 5 months of waiting for the rice to ripen, farmers in Japan usually rely on small Kubota combine harvesters. These compact machines are light, agile, and perfectly suited to the narrow plots and fragmented terrain of traditional Asian farming. But in the United States and Europe, the scale has been raised to an entirely new level. On vast open fields, giants like John Deere, Case IH, New Holland, and Claas operate with cutter bars stretching dozens of meters. Their mechanism works like a massive harvest line. The cutter slices the stalks, the threshing drum separates the grains, the fan and sieve system cleans away husks and straw, and the kernels are unloaded through an auger into a trailer moving alongside. Meanwhile, the straw is chopped and spread evenly back onto the field. This extraordinary efficiency, 40 to 50 tons per hour, harvesting hundreds of hectares in just a few days, is what has transformed the United States into a true agricultural superpower, far beyond the smaller machines of Asia. Hundreds of giant white snakes, stretched endlessly across the fields, are in fact grain baggers, modern machines that revolutionize grain storage in 21st century farming. After harvest, corn, wheat, or soybeans are poured into the hopper, where a powerful auger compacts the kernels and pushes them deep into massive polyethylene bags. These bags can stretch 60 to 75 meters long and hold up to 250 tons of grain, the equivalent of a full-size silo right there in the field. Together, these three crops account for more than 2.3 billion tons produced globally each year, making grain baggers an indispensable solution for handling such vast quantities. No longer forced into a post-harvest rush, farmers in the US, Canada, and Argentina now turn their fields into sprawling mobile warehouses, a striking symbol of modern agricultural innovation. If this machine had existed 70 years ago, European farmers would not have had to spend months digging drainage ditches by hand. Today, in fields with heavy clay soils or areas prone to flooding, poor drainage can easily wipe out entire crops. To solve this, subsurface drainage machines like this are used. At their core is a massive plow blade mounted on a tracked chassis, capable of cutting 0.8 to 1.5 meters deep into the ground. As the machine advances, it simultaneously opens the soil and lays perforated PVC or PE pipes underground. Behind the machine, a large coil of pipe is gradually fed into the trench, which is then immediately backfilled, creating a hidden network of underground drains across the field. This system removes excess water after heavy rains while maintaining balanced soil moisture for crops. High up in the rolling hills of Europe, where steep and rugged terrain makes grass cutting with heavy machinery almost impossible, these compact drum mowers have become the perfect solution. Equipped with two cylindrical drums fitted with dozens of sharp blades, the machine spins at high speed to neatly slice through thick layers of grass, leaving behind evenly cut swaths. In just 1 hour of operation, a single unit can process 4,000 to 5,000 square meters of grass, a performance far beyond that of traditional handheld mowers. When started, the rotating drums generate strong friction combined with the cutting blades, creating a forward-driving force that allows the mower to move on its own without being pushed by the operator. Weighing only about 100 kilograms, its lightweight frame and flexible wheels make it easy to work even on steep slopes or terraced fields. Thanks to its mobility and impressive efficiency, this machine has become an indispensable workhorse for dairy, beef, and sheep farms, with a price of about $6,500. If you think the machine before your eyes looks like a giant clay-shaping press, you are mistaken. The Peat Harvester is a specialized machine designed to cut, crush, and collect peat, a vital resource used in energy production, organic fertilizers, and soil improvement. A massive cutting disc at the front digs deep into the peat layer, while the mechanical system grinds and compresses it into uniform cylindrical blocks. These blocks are then laid out in long rows across the field to dry naturally under the sun before being collected and transported. With its sturdy build and oversized tires, the tractor can freely frolic on soft, waterlogged ground without worrying about getting stuck, as if it were taking a mud bath. A modern peat harvester is capable of processing tens of tons of peat each day, leaving behind endless rows of neatly formed blocks stretching across the landscape. Across vast hazelnut orchards, the harvest usually takes place from late August to early October, with Turkey leading global production at around 800,000 tons per year, followed by Italy and the United States. Harvesting each tiny hazelnut by hand from the ground is extremely time and labor-intensive, which is why modern hazelnut harvesters like this have become the ideal solution. At the front, the machine is equipped with rotating sweep discs that continuously gather hazelnuts scattered among dry leaves and grass. Immediately after, a powerful suction system transfers everything into the processing chamber, where leaves, twigs, and soil are separated out, leaving only clean hazelnuts. Each day, a single machine can harvest several tons of nuts, all collected into the large rear container, ready to be transported to processing facilities. From June to August each year, across the vast fields of the United States, cucumbers destined for pickles are harvested by specialized machines. Unlike onion harvesters that dig bulbs out of the soil, these machines are designed specifically to separate the fruit from the plant while keeping each cucumber intact. Using a system of clamps and conveyors, the machine gently lifts the vines, detaches the ripe cucumbers from stems and leaves, and passes them through a cleaning unit that removes soil and debris. Thousands of fresh green cucumbers are then transferred into large storage bins before being offloaded into trailers moving alongside. In just 1 hour, a single harvester can handle tens of tons of cucumbers, replacing the work of hundreds of manual laborers. Today, although China is by far the world's leading producer of cucumbers, accounting for more than 70 million tons each year, the United States stands out with its advanced harvesting technology, especially for cucumbers grown specifically for pickles. From the fields, these cucumbers quickly make their way to processing plants, soon becoming familiar pickle jars found on dinner tables under brands such as Mount Olive, Vlasic, and Clausen. Standing out as one of the most iconic symbols of autumn, the pumpkin becomes the opening character in our harvest journey. Across the United States, with Illinois holding the title of pumpkin capital, vast golden fields come into season from late September to November, just in time for the excitement of Halloween. Fresh pumpkin harvesters use sharp blades to cut through thick stems, while mechanical arms lift the massive pumpkins from the ground and place them onto conveyor belts. Rotating rollers and brushes remove excess soil before the plump pumpkins are neatly deposited into storage bins at the rear. With a continuous rhythm, thousands of pumpkins are gathered within just a few hours. Unlike fresh pumpkin harvesters, pumpkin seed harvesters have a more specialized design. These machines crush and separate the entire fruit directly in the field, sorting out the seeds through screening systems, while the rind and flesh are discharged back onto the soil as organic fertilizer. By combining these two technologies, American farmers not only meet the enormous demand for fresh pumpkins in holiday markets and food production, but also maximize economic value from the seeds, driving annual yields to more than 680,000 metric tons. Farewell to the diligent farmers across the fields of Illinois. Now let us journey to Wisconsin and Massachusetts, where every September, farmers harvest their rewards, glistening like crimson jewels upon the water. Unlike pumpkins, cranberries are harvested using a unique method known as wet harvesting. When the season arrives, farmers flood the bogs with water, then deploy special machines called water reels or egg beaters to stir the vines and loosen the berries. Thanks to tiny air pockets inside, cranberries rise and float, creating a spectacular sight. Thousands of bright red berries drifting like a floating carpet across the water's surface. Next comes the conveyor harvester, a modern harvesting machine that drives directly through the flooded bog. At the front, steel tines sweep the floating berries into the intake, while rotating conveyors lift them up, drain the water, and deposit them straight into boats or bins along the bog's edge. This method accelerates collection, reduces the need for manual boom corralling, and minimizes damage, making it ideal for large-scale cranberry farms in the US and Canada. Much like the bison roaming the Great Plains, the sight of flooded bogs shimmering with cranberries has become an enduring symbol of North America, a living image that captures both its natural abundance and cultural identity. Another approach that is becoming increasingly widespread is the conveyor harvester, which demands an investment of $250,000 to $400,000, but delivers far greater efficiency. At the front, steel tines sweep the floating berries toward the intake, where rotating conveyors lift them up, drain away the excess water, and deposit them directly into waiting boats or bins along the bog's edge. Each year, harvesting 700,000 tons of cranberries can require millions of liters of water, but Ocean Spray, the largest farmer-owned cooperative in the United States, emphasizes that much of this water is reused throughout the season, while accounting for nearly 70% of the nation's production. Brussels sprouts grow in tall, sturdy stalks that can reach up to a meter in height, with dozens of compact green buds tightly clustered along the stem, making their harvest a task that requires both precision and specialized machinery. From September to March each year, the Brussels sprout fields in Flanders, the agricultural heart of Belgium, enter their harvest season. Farmers rely on specialized machines such as trailed Brussels sprout harvesters and self-propelled Brussels sprout harvesters. Inside, 6 rapidly rotating blades spin like a giant pencil sharpener, trimming each compact sprout and pushing the stalk forward. Every 6 seconds, one plant is fully processed. The Brussels sprouts are then cleaned by fans and filters before falling into the collection hopper. Thanks to scientific farming methods and highly efficient mechanization, Belgian farmers harvest more than 156 million pounds of Brussels sprouts each year, surpassing other countries such as the Netherlands, Germany, and the United Kingdom. Nearly 90% of the products we use every day contain sugar, and much of that sweetness begins in the sun-drenched sugarcane fields of Brazil, where farmers harvest around 650 million tons of cane each year. During the 2025 season, Brazilian farmers must race against time to cut and process sugarcane before it is sent for crushing and export. Before the 2000s, both American and Brazilian farmers commonly burned sugarcane fields before harvest, especially in São Paulo state, which produces more than half of Brazil's output. It might sound unusual, but the purpose was to remove dry leaves and unnecessary tops. This left the stalks cleaner, reduced excess debris such as fallen leaves, organic matter, and insects, and made manual cutting faster and more efficient. However, because of the enormous amount of smoke and harmful emissions it generated, Brazil has implemented a program to almost completely eliminate pre-harvest burning, shifting instead to mechanized green cane harvesting. But in the United States, especially in Florida, burning sugarcane before harvest is still common. If you were there, how would you explain the reason behind it? Against this backdrop, harvesting fresh, unburned sugarcane with modern machinery is increasingly being promoted and has quickly become the dominant path forward. Specialized harvesters cut the cane close to the ground, while simultaneously stripping leaves and tops right in the field. The stalks are lifted onto trucks by conveyor belts and transported straight to the mills on the same day. If the harvest is delayed, the sugar content in the cane drops rapidly, making it prone to mold and pests, which reduces its market value. That is why Brazilian farmers always strive to deliver the cane to the mills within 24 hours to ensure the best quality. Across Europe, Russia, and the northern United States, vast sugar beet fields stretch endlessly, with the harvest season running from September to November. Modern sugar beet harvesters are massive self-propelled machines designed with high precision. At the front, lifting wheels or digging shares penetrate the soil, gently raising the beets from the ground without breaking them. Immediately afterward, fast-spinning knives slice off the green tops, which are left in the field as a natural fertilizer. The beets, once cleaned and neatly trimmed, travel along a conveyor system, passing through a series of rollers and cleaning turbines that remove excess soil and stones. Finally, they are deposited into a large holding tank on the machine. While sugarcane still dominates with nearly 80% of the world's sugar supply, sugar beets provide the remaining 20%, with the European Union, Russia, the United States, and Turkey among the leading producers. China dominates the global plum industry, producing more than 6 million tons annually, over half of the world's total output. From July to September each year, farmers race against time to harvest their fruit at peak ripeness. Harvesting plums requires a delicate balance between speed and care. In small orchards, workers pick by hand, gently twisting the fruit from the branches to preserve the thin skin and juicy flesh. The harvested plums are then collected into baskets and moved quickly to sorting stations. In larger farms, such as those in California, mechanical shakers are deployed. These machines grip the trunk or main branches, delivering powerful shakes that send ripe plums tumbling onto catching frames or padded nets below. The fruit is then sorted, graded, and packed within hours to maintain freshness. Beyond being eaten fresh, plums are dried into prunes, processed into jams, or fermented into wines and spirits. Altogether, the global plum and prune industry carries an economic value of more than 10 billion USD, giving this fruit cultural and commercial importance far beyond the orchard. With expectations of harvesting more than 190 million tons of tomatoes in the 2025 season, this crop is grown in over 170 countries, making it one of the most widely cultivated on the planet. Harvesting methods vary depending on their intended use. For fresh market tomatoes, farmers must harvest quickly during the peak season, typically from June to October. Workers hand-pick each fruit by gently twisting it off the vine and placing it into crates to protect the delicate skin. In contrast, processing tomatoes are harvested with mechanical tomato harvesters. These self-propelled machines cut entire plants at the base and feed them into an onboard system that strips away vines and leaves. Advanced optical sorters then separate ripe red fruit from green or damaged ones, discarding the latter. The selected tomatoes travel along conveyor belts into large holding bins before being transported directly to processing plants. Thanks to this technology, a single harvester can collect up to 60 tons of tomatoes per hour, replacing the labor of hundreds of workers. China, India, and the United States dominate global production, with California's Central Valley alone producing millions of tons each year, much of it destined for sauces, ketchup, and canned products. An industry worth nearly $190 billion worldwide, almost 19 times the value of the global plum and prune market. Let us journey to the tropical coasts, where one of the world's most iconic crops thrives: the coconut. Harvesting coconuts is a task that demands both skill and courage. In many traditional plantations across Asia, such as Indonesia, the Philippines, and India, farmers climb towering palms that can reach up to 20 meters high, using only ropes or simple footholds to reach the heavy clusters. With a swift swing of a machete, the coconuts are cut free and dropped to the ground. Modern methods have introduced long poles fitted with sharp blades or hooks. Standing safely on the ground, farmers align the pole, twist, and cut the stem, bringing the coconuts down one by one. In Thailand and parts of Southeast Asia, specially trained monkeys are still used. They climb quickly, twist the coconuts with precision, and can harvest hundreds per day. The global coconut industry, valued at more than 20 billion USD, plays a vital role not only in tropical economies, but also in the worldwide markets for food, cosmetics, and health products. Harvesting sweet corn requires precise timing. If picked too early, the kernels remain underdeveloped. If left too long, the sugars quickly convert into starch, diminishing their flavor. The peak season usually runs from June to August in the United States and from July to September in Europe, with more than 45 million tons of sweet corn needing to be gathered in a race against time. First come the whole-ear corn harvesters, which glide smoothly down the rows, using sharp cutting systems, either serrated blades or rotating discs, to slice cleanly at the base of the stalks and feed the entire plant into the machine. Inside, counter-rotating rollers take over. They strip away the outer leaves, keep only the quality ears, and move them onto conveyor belts that carry them to holding tanks or directly into waiting trucks. The most advanced sweet corn harvesters today come from companies like John Deere, with models such as the 7700 series harvester, capable of processing up to 20 tons of corn per hour, matching the workload of more than 100 laborers working non-stop. Yet despite these advances in technology, the careful hands of farmers still provide a level of quality that machines cannot replicate. Hand harvesting, though far less efficient, nearly 15 times slower than mechanized methods, preserves the natural freshness and premium quality of each ear, ensuring they arrive at the next stage in perfect condition. Once the golden fields have been cleared and the ears collected with care, the journey shifts away from the sunlit countryside into modern factories, where sweet corn is transformed into the delicious products we enjoy every day. Just one cassava root can take a life, if not properly processed. It may sound exaggerated, but the truth is that cassava contains cyanogenic glycosides, which when broken down release hydrogen cyanide, HCN, a deadly toxin that can cause death in just a matter of minutes. Despite its inherent risks, cassava is a paradoxical crop that humans have domesticated and spread across the globe since the 16th century, primarily through colonial empires, where it quickly became a staple crop and laid the foundation for a multi-billion-dollar starch industry. And from there, throughout history, cassava has time and again played the role of a silent hero, saving millions from famine across Africa, China, India, and even during the Vietnam War. That's why, in Africa, cassava is seen as a symbol of life and the unyielding will to overcome hardship. Compared to potato and sweet potato starch, cassava starch contains a higher starch content of up to 80 to 85% and stands out for its strong thickening power, high clarity, neutral taste, and low cost, making it ideal for both the food and industrial sectors. Like every legend, the journey of cassava begins with Mother Earth, where humble cuttings grow through sun, wind, and time, beginning a new life cycle for a crop that nourishes millions. In early spring, as the land welcomes its first rains after the dry season, weather conditions become ideal to begin a new cassava growing cycle. Unlike many staple crops that are grown from seeds or seedlings, cassava has a unique trait. It is propagated using stem cuttings from the previous harvest. Healthy cassava plants are carefully selected after harvest to serve as mother plants, a crucial step as the quality of the stem cuttings directly affects the sprouting rate, growth performance, and yield of the next generation. The selected stems are then trimmed into cuttings measuring 20 to 25 centimeters, each with 5 to 7 healthy buds to maximize sprouting potential. Before planting, these cuttings are often treated with antifungal solutions to prevent root rot and pest damage. Another important factor is soil preparation. The land is deeply tilled to a depth of 30 to 40 centimeters using mechanized plows, creating optimal conditions for root development and making future harvesting easier. A common planting distance of 80 by 100 centimeters provides enough underground space for tuber clusters to grow, while also ensuring compatibility with modern harvesting machinery. Today, in many specialized farming regions, cassava planting has been mechanized. Farmers use specialized cassava planters that can simultaneously create furrows, place cuttings, cover them with soil, and press the ridges, all in a single pass. Such machines can plant 1 to 2 hectares per day, significantly reducing labor and saving time. After planting, a light watering may be needed if the soil is dry. Within 7 to 10 days, the cuttings will take root and sprout, beginning their gradual transformation into full-grown plants. An interesting fact is that the long, pointed lobes of cassava leaves are sometimes mistaken for cannabis, a surprisingly common misconception in both rural and urban areas. With proper cultivation techniques, cassava plants can reach a height of 1.5 to 3 meters, with vigorous root development that leads to high yields at the end of the 8 to 10-month growing cycle. This marks the foundation for a bountiful harvest, completing a journey that began with humble stem cuttings. At large-scale cassava farms, modern machinery is brought in to streamline operations. On wide, flat fields lined with neatly arranged rows of cassava, specialized harvesters move steadily along the beds. At the front, rotating blades swiftly clear the mature stalks. Immediately behind, a set of digging blades sinks into the soil, gently lifting the entire root system and pulling out clusters of cassava tubers. As the machine completes a row, the cassava plants vanish, leaving behind loosened soil and exposed roots near the surface. Workers then step in to collect any remaining tubers by hand and place them into large baskets or sacks positioned along the rows. Once full, the sacks are hoisted onto waiting trucks at the edge of the field. The entire process is smooth and efficient. Each pass of the harvester can save hours of manual labor, dramatically increasing harvesting productivity, especially during peak seasons. In smaller farms or areas with sloped terrain, hard soil, or irregular planting patterns, cassava is still harvested by hand. Though more labor-intensive, this traditional method can still be highly effective when done correctly. In loose, well-aerated soil, farmers can uproot entire cassava plants by hand without the need for hoes or crowbars. They then use specialized knives to separate the root clusters from the stems and gather them into baskets or sacks. It's a physically demanding task that requires strength, patience, and technique, especially under scorching sun or in hardened soil. In some regions, farmers first cut the stalks, then use a digging tool to lever the root base out of the ground. Once lifted, the roots are shaken clean, separated from the cluster, and placed into containers for transport. And when the trucks are finally filled to the brim, they roll away from the fields, marking the end of a fruitful harvest season and the beginning of a new journey, as these soil-covered cassava roots are transformed into pure white starch, ready to serve the food and industrial sectors. As soon as the trucks arrive at the factory, the cassava roots are unloaded at the receiving area and temporarily stored in a holding yard. Depending on the scale and capacity of the facility, the plant can handle up to several thousand tons of fresh cassava per day. At this stage, a preliminary inspection is carried out to remove damaged, rotten, or heavily contaminated roots before entering the processing line. At this stage, the raw cassava roots are divided into two main processing streams, depending on their intended end use. One portion goes through the dry processing route, where the cassava is thinly sliced, typically to a thickness of 3 to 5 millimeters, to facilitate faster and more uniform drying. It is widely used in the animal feed industry due to its high energy value and also serves as a key input for fermentation-based industries, such as the production of bioethanol, vinegar, organic acids, and various other bio-based products. The other portion is directed toward further processing into refined cassava starch. From the storage yard, an automated conveyor system continuously feeds the selected roots into the cleaning section, marking the beginning of a fully enclosed and high-capacity processing line. From the receiving conveyor, the cassava is transferred into a continuous washing system, typically a horizontal drum washer. This machine operates by rotating while internal spiral paddles and high-pressure water jets work together to remove all soil, sand, mud, and the thin outer skin from the surface of the roots. As the drum spins, the cassava roots tumble against the rough inner surface and against each other, causing dirt and skin to peel off naturally without the use of chemicals. In industrial processing, cassava roots are not completely peeled as they are in traditional methods. Instead, they are thoroughly washed and mechanically cleaned to remove dirt and the outer skin, allowing for maximum starch retention. As a result, a certain amount of cyanogenic compounds, primarily linamarin, may still remain in the roots, especially in bitter cassava varieties. And to eliminate this natural toxin, we must now take a closer look at the critical processing steps that follow. After washing, the cassava is passed through a manual inspection stage. Here, workers remove any damaged, bruised, or diseased roots that machinery might not detect accurately. The selected cassava is then either cut into smaller pieces or left whole, depending on the requirements of the next step, grinding. At this stage, the cassava is fed into either a roller crusher or a high-speed blade grinder, where it is crushed into a pulp. This mixture consists of starch dissolved in liquid and fiber that has not yet been separated. This is a crucial step that breaks down the cellular structure of the roots, allowing for the maximum release of starch from the raw material. The pulp mixture after grinding, consisting of starch dissolved in water and undetached cassava fiber, is transferred to a centrifugal or vibrating screening system, depending on the technology used by the factory. In a centrifugal sieve, the mixture is pumped into a high-speed rotating drum covered with a fine mesh screen. The centrifugal force pushes the mixture outward toward the screen, allowing the fine starch and liquid to pass through the mesh, while cassava fibers and larger impurities are retained and discharged separately. The separated fiber doesn't go to waste. It's collected and used as rough animal feed, as it still contains a small amount of starch and beneficial fiber, making it a nutritious meal for our cows. Do you agree with these, Moo? The next step is dewatering. Various methods are used depending on the scale and level of automation of the factory. At medium and small-scale facilities, a filter press is commonly used. In this system, starch slurry is compressed under high pressure between thick filter plates, effectively removing most of the water from the mixture. The result is a semi-dry starch cake with a moisture content of around 40 to 45%, which is soft, white, and moldable. This semi-finished material is essential for the subsequent drying process. Although the filter press operates in cycles, it is easy to maintain, simple to operate, and well-suited for medium-capacity production lines. In large-scale industrial factories, where high output, continuous operation, and full automation are required, the dewatering process is typically upgraded to a rotary vacuum filter. This equipment uses a rotating drum combined with vacuum suction to continuously extract water from the starch slurry. As the drum rotates through the starch tank, a thin layer of starch adheres to its surface and is gradually dried by suction through a filter cloth. This is also a critical stage for removing most of the natural toxins found in cassava roots. After grinding, cyanogenic compounds are released and dissolve into the water. Through continuous steps of fiber separation, filtration, and dewatering, the majority of hydrogen cyanide is carried away with the liquid waste, significantly reducing the toxin content before the drying phase begins. During the dewatering process, a large volume of wastewater is generated from stages such as root washing, grinding, sedimentation, and filtration. This wastewater contains residual starch, organic matter, and suspended solids, which, if not properly treated, can cause serious pollution to surrounding water sources. To manage this, factories typically implement multi-stage wastewater treatment systems, including primary sedimentation, flow equalization, biological treatment, and final disinfection. Some modern facilities also incorporate biodigesters, which recover biogas from sludge, reducing emissions while generating renewable energy to power the production line. This is a key factor enabling the cassava starch industry to grow sustainably and in an environmentally friendly manner. Meanwhile, the semi-dry starch is fed into a flash dryer, where high-speed hot air rapidly evaporates the remaining moisture in just a few seconds. The heat source for this drying system typically comes from biomass burners, coal, firewood, or gas, combined with automatic temperature control systems to ensure energy efficiency and consistent product quality. The result is a fine, white cassava starch powder with a standard moisture content of less than 13%. After drying, the starch exits the flash dryer at a high temperature and must be cooled immediately to preserve its quality. A forced air cooling system is used, blowing controlled streams of cool, filtered air through the starch as it moves along the conveyor. Once cooled, the starch passes through a sieving system, typically a high-frequency vibrating screen or a roller-type disintegrator. These machines are designed to gently but thoroughly break down any remaining agglomerates formed during drying. This step ensures the starch has a fine, uniform texture, removes any oversized granules or residual impurities, and prepares it for precise and consistent packaging. Once the starch meets quality standards, it is transferred to an automatic packaging system. Depending on demand, the product is packed in 25 kilograms or 50 kilograms bags, or in jumbo bags weighing up to 1 ton, suitable for both consumer markets and industrial processing. From humble, soil-covered roots to a refined, pure white powder, through human hands and modern technology, a remarkable journey unfolds, producing starch that nourishes people, powers industries, and connects the world. Some premium products undergo additional steps after drying. These include pitting and stuffing, with popular fillings like almonds, walnuts, or soft cheeses. Once stuffed, the dates are gently reshaped using molds to ensure a consistent appearance. But the journey isn't over yet. Before we explore the remarkable uses of date seeds and the sweet, pureed flesh, we first step into the world of modern packaging. After undergoing thorough inspection, each date is transferred into an automated portioning machine, where sensors precisely determine the required weight for each pack, ensuring consistency across all finished products. Next, the dates travel through chutes and are automatically dispensed into bags, boxes, or plastic trays, depending on the intended packaging format. A heat sealing system works in perfect sync with the portioning unit to immediately seal each package, preventing exposure to outside air and helping maintain freshness. Once the pits have been removed, the remaining fruit flesh is transferred to the grinding area to produce date paste, a smooth, spreadable product commonly used in pastries, nutrition bars, energy snacks, and baby foods. All the fruit is fed into an industrial grinder, where the dates are finely ground into a soft, uniform paste. The mixture then undergoes mild heat treatment to stabilize its structure, ensure food safety, and extend shelf life. After that, the paste is extruded through a forming machine to achieve a consistent texture that's easy to package and use. Finally, the date paste is packed into small pouches, plastic tubs, or large commercial bags, depending on its intended application. But the sweetness of dates doesn't stop there. Once the flesh is extracted, it's slowly cooked at around 80 to 90 degrees Celsius for approximately 4 to 6 hours, transforming into a rich, caramel-colored syrup that captures the very essence of the fruit. The natural sugar content in date syrup can reach up to 75%, making it a powerful and nutritious sweetener. From ancient groves to cutting-edge facilities, the story of dates is one of heritage, resilience, and innovation. Today, what began as a humble desert fruit now stands as a symbol of both tradition and technological advancement. One bite at a time,